We begin today the Gemara on Daf Chof Aleph, Amud Aleph, about 8 lines from the top of the page. The Gemara quotes what it said in the Mishnah, V'yesh zechus teile gimel shanim. Mishnah says that you have a woman, a Sotah, she drinks from the waters, according to one opinion. So if she has a zechus, a merit, so then the effect of the waters does not happen immediately, and it could even be suspended for 3 years. So the Gemara here will discuss which zechus are we talking about that the woman will not be affected immediately. So the Gemara zechus, there are more Gemaras around. So the Gemara zechus demai. Which zechus are we talking about here? If we're going to say this is referring to the zechus of this woman learning Torah, but how would that be so powerful to prevent the waters of taking effect? A woman is not commanded to learn Torah. So she may be learning Torah, but if she's not commanded, so the zechus should not have this kind of effect on her. So says the Gemara, Ella, so we must say, what kind of a zechus is this? Zechus, the mitzvah. It's only it's the zechus of her fulfilling a mitzvah, the various mitzvahs that a woman is commanded, and when you fulfill a mitzvah v'aisa, that's a kind of a zechus that could save her from the effect of these waters. But on that the Gemara asks, zechus the mitzvah, the zechus of fulfilling a mitzvah, mi magna kula hai, will it protect her to this extent that even after she's done the mitzvah and now she's here and she's drinking these waters, could the effect of the mitzvah last even after the mitzvah and protect her at this time as well? So the Gemara here brings a braisa, a lengthy braisa, that will discuss the zechus of learning Torah and the zechus of a mitzvah and the difference between them. And we'll see here, from this braisa, that the zechus of a mitzvah is not powerful enough to protect her from these waters, from the effect of the waters that she drinks. Tanya, we learned in the braisa as follows. Ezu darish Rab Menachem Bar Yosi. This is what Rab Menachem Bar Yosi darshened. The pasuk says, "Kiner mitzvah v'Torah or." That a mitzvah is compared to the light of a candle, and Torah it says, "Or," it's light, which would be the light, the sunlight, the light of the day. What does this mean? Tola kosov a mitzvah b'ner. The Torah says that the light of a mitzvah is like the light of a candle. V'esa Torah, and the light of Torah b'or, like the light of the day. So what this means is, it's a mitzvah b'ner. The mitzvah is compared to the light of a candle. Loi malacha, this tells you, ma ner eina megina ela lefisha. Just like the light of a candle, so it only provides light, so it gives protection for the person temporarily, as long as the candle lasts. Af mitzvah, so too, when it comes to the fulfillment of a mitzvah, eina magina ela lefisha. It only protects a person temporarily, which means at the time when he fulfills the mitzvah. Okay, that's regarding a mitzvah. Now, the Torah is compared to light, the light of the day. To say it to you, just like the light of the day so it provides light for the person forever. It's not like a candle that burns and just burns out. So too, the Torah protects a person forever, even after he's not learning Torah. Now, on this, the pasuk says in another place, when you walk in your path, it will guide you, it will show you the right way to go. So, what does this refer to here? There's a continuation of the pasuk, and the Gemara here is going to explain not just the beginning of this pasuk, but the continuation as well. Let's see. So, what that means is, that's the guidance that you get, the light that you get from the Torah over here in this world. Then the pasuk says, when you lie, it will protect you as well. Zumisa. This means even after a person passes away, so the light of Torah will protect them as well. And when you awaken, it will be the words that you speak. This means lasad lavai. This means in the future the Torah also will come and protect the person. And the Braisa gives a mashal. Mashal adam shahiyah mahalach b'ishan laila. The analogy of a person that's walking in the night, in the darkness of the night. Va'afela, okay, very heavy darkness. And he's afraid from thorns, from paddles or from pits, also other types of thorns, thistles, maybe that's the translation, is that what they have there? Okay. Or from wild beasts that are out at night. And also and from bandits. And he can't see, doesn't know where he's going, doesn't know what's going to end up happening to him. So now, if he gets hold of a torch of light, a torch of fire, So this helps him partially. Nitzel min hakaitzim u'min abchasim u'min abarkonim. So this will save him from not going into a place of thorns or into a pit. But he's not yet fully protected. But because it's still nighttime, which at nighttime the wild animals are out and thieves and bandits are out on the road, so he's still afraid of them. The torch that he's holding in his hand won't help him, won't save him from that. So he's still not sure where he's going to end up in. When the morning star comes up and it starts getting light outside, so now he's saved from the wild beasts that hide again and from the bandits that are not out in the morning. But still, he's still not safe and 100% sure where he's going to end up being, where he's going to end up going to, because he's still on his way. He doesn't know where the road that he's on is going to lead him to. Then this individual arrives to the fork in the road. Nitzel mikulam. Once he arrives to Prashas Drachim, so then he gets saved from all of this. So we'll see soon. The Gemara will explain what Prashas Drachim refers to, right? So over here, B'Pashtus, what this Bryce is talking about, as Rashi says, is that even when a person is walking in his life, and even if it's daytime, meaning that he has proper connection to Torah and mitzvahs, but nevertheless, you never know if the Yetzer Hara could overcome the person at any time and change his way. But when he comes to Prashas Drachim, which the simple pshat means the day that he passes away and he lived life perfectly the way he's supposed to, so now at that point, so he's safe. He lived life out, and the Yetzer Hara won't get a hold of him anymore. That's one pshat to explain the difference between Torah and mitzvahs based on the pasuk ner mitzvah and v'Torah er. Dover acher, another pshat, aveire mechabe mitzvah. If a person did a mitzvah, but then afterwards he does an Aveda, the Aveda will extinguish the merit of the mitzvah. Ve'ein Aveda mechabe Torah. But if a person learned Torah and then he does an Aveda, the Aveda will not extinguish the merit that he has from learning Torah. So again, we see here that the zechus of Torah protects a person much more. If it protects a person even if he did an Aveda afterwards. Shenema, as the pasuk says, Mayim Rabim lo yuchul l'chabes esahava. That Mayim Rabim, even tremendous waters, which refers even to the waters that come from the world, even an Aveda, cannot extinguish the love. And the love that this pasuk is referring to refers to Torah, as Rashi here brings the pasuk in Shir Hashirim, V'diglu alai ahava. And the Ava that the pasuk in Shir Hashirim is talking about is the Ava Yayin, the Seid actually, not Stam Torah, but the secrets of Torah, Pnimiyus HaTorah. So a person that learns Torah and he learns Pnimiyus HaTorah, so then the Avedis cannot extinguish this. So what's the Gemara's question? So from Rashi, see that the Gemara's question is mainly based on the last point that it said here, that when it comes to a mitzvah, an Aveda can extinguish the zchus of the mitzvah. But when it comes to Torah, an Aveda will not extinguish the zchus of the Torah. So regarding the woman, the Sotah, so since we said it can't be the zchus of Torah because she's not mitzvah to learn Torah, so which zchus are we speaking about? The zchus of a mitzvah. But if she's now a woman, a Sotah, and she did an Aveda, the Aveda extinguishes the zchus of the mitzvah. So how is she protected from the zchus of the mitzvah that she fulfilled? So the Gemara explains that we have to understand the Bryce here as follows. Amar Rav Yosef, so Rav Yosef says, mitzvah, when it comes to a mitzvah, be'idna the asikpa. While the person is occupied in fulfilling the mitzvah, so magna u matzla. The mitzvah will protect the person, and the protection refers to the protection of any suffering or any punishment. While a person is doing the mitzvah, Hashem will not bring pain, yisurim, or punishment upon him. And also matzla. While he's doing the mitzvah, he'll also be saved of the Yetzer Hara that should overcome him and convince him of anything else. That's the two things, magna and matzla. That's while he's doing the mitzvah. Beidne the lo yasik bey, but that is, however, in the time when he's not occupied in the mitzvah itself, so aguni magna, the protection of the mitzvah of any suffering, of any yisurim that the Eibusher would bring upon the person, that actually continues even after you do the mitzvah. It said in the Braise that if he does an Aveda afterwards, or when he's not doing the mitzvah, the protection of the mitzvah does not continue. That's regarding another point. Atzuli loy matzla. Regarding being saved of the Yetzer Hara that should overcome him, that will not be there for the person when he's not doing the mitzvah. Right? So when the Braise said that Aveda mechabe mitzvah, that the Aveda could extinguish a mitzvah, it doesn't mean regarding protecting him from Yisurim. If a person did a mitzvah, so then that mitzvah will protect the person from any pain and suffering afterwards. What it means that it does not protect the person from, it means he will not be protected from the Yetzer Hara, which may now have a way to overcome him. Right? So therefore, this could fit with the point that we said before regarding the Sotah, that she will be protected from the Yisurim that would come from these waters. Even if now she did an Aveda, the Aveda does not extinguish the protection from the mitzvah. Now, what's the advantage of Torah? When it comes to Torah, when a person that learns Torah, whether he's actually learning now, or whether he's not learning Torah right now, the Torah will always provide for you protection from Yisurim, and will also save you from the Yetzer Hara to overcome you, that you should not come to sin again. That's the pshat of Rav Yosef. So it fits with our Mishnah. But on this, Maskefla Rabba asked the question to Rav Yosef, how could you say this? If you're telling me that learning Torah is so powerful, that it always protects you, and it always saves you from the Yetzer Hara, so here you have two examples, Dayig v'Achiteifel. These two individuals, Dayig and Achiteifel, they were great Torah scholars. Miloi aski b'Torah. Didn't they learn a lot of Torah? So amai lo higina alayu. So why did the Torah not provide for them their protection? And here, even though the Gemara uses the term higina, it means really what it said before, matzla. And the Gemara is asking, they later became big Rishoyim. So even though they learned Torah, they were not saved from the Yetzer Hara. But we just said that someone that learned Torah, even after he's not learning, not only is he protected from punishment, from Yisurim, but he's also protected and shielded and saved from the Yetzer Hara. So how did these individuals that learned Torah later become big Rishoyim? I mean, this is a question b'chlal. I mean, the Gemara is choosing this example of Doeg and Achiteifel, but you could ask the question b'chlal. Could you say that a person that learns Torah, he'll never again be prone to the Yetzer Hara ever coming and talking to him and overcoming him? How could he say that? So Elo Amar Rava, so Rava says, the pshat is a bit different. Torah, when it comes to Torah, be'idne da'asik ba, in the time when the person learns Torah, magna umatzla. While he's learning Torah, it will protect him from any Yisurim, and it will also save him from the Yetzer Hara. Be'idne da'lo yasik ba, however, in the time when he's not learning Torah, aguni magna, he's still going to have the protection of the Torah, that it'll protect him from any punishment, any Yisurim, but atzuli le matzla. It's not going to save him from the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara will still be able to come to him. When it comes to a mitzvah, bein bidne da'asik ba, bein bidne de'lo yasik ba. When it comes to a mitzvah, whether he's doing the mitzvah right now, whether he's not doing the mitzvah, aguni magna, a mitzvah only provides a person a protection from Yisurim, but atzuli loy matzla. A mitzvah will never provide a person a protection of the Yetzer Hara. Even while he's doing the mitzvah, the Yetzer Hara could come and disturb the person. That's the difference between Torah and mitzvahs. Okay, so again, the point still remains that a mitzvah does provide a person protection from punishment even after he's not doing the mitzvah anymore, or even if he did an aveda afterwards. And therefore, this woman over here will have this zechus. Okay, so it's interesting, this point over here. According to this pshat that the Gemara is saying now, Rava says that a Torah, while a person is learning Torah, he's fully protected from the Yetzer Hara. When it comes to a mitzvah, even while he's doing a mitzvah, the Yetzer Hara can come and disturb him and talk to him and read the mind and shtus. So Al Pi Chassidus, that ever brings us in a sicha, you could understand the difference, because Torah takes over a person b'pnimius, right? The yichud with the Eibishter in Torah is much more deep and much more internal. So therefore, you're fully involved in the Torah you learn. And therefore the Yetzer Hara is not shaykh to come in and disturb a person. Mashenkin, in a mitzvah is just an action. A mitzvah is more makif, it's more external. And therefore the Yetzer Hara over there could come and disturb a person. That's the maskana over here, how the Gemara describes the pshat between the difference between Torah and mitzvahs. Taisus over here has a difficulty, according to this maskana, Taisus has a difficulty connecting this to the first pshat that the Braisa said, that the difference between Torah and mitzvahs is similar to the difference between a ner and the ner mitzvah of a Torah, because in the beginning of the Braisa it said that a mitzvah is like a candle. Temporarily, you do have a protection. So Taisus asks, what do you mean? Now the Gemara is saying that even temporarily he has no protection. Even while you're doing the mitzvah, the Yetzer Hara could disturb this person. And when it comes to Torah, the Gemara says that it's like the light which is protecting the person forever. But according to what the Gemara says now, it's not going to protect the person forever. Even a person that learned Torah, after he's done learning, it's possible that the Yetzer Hara should come and he'll turn into a Rasha. So Taisus doesn't answer this. Taisus says that this pshat of the Gemara doesn't seem to fit with the first pshat that the Braisa says. Okay, now the Gemara comes back and says a different pshat, what the schus of this woman, the Sotah, is that the waters will not affect her. Ravina goes back to the original pshat. La'olam schus Torah. Really, the schus that a woman has is from Torah. The question we asked, she's not commanded to learn Torah, so how does she get such a strong schus if it's not, she doesn't have the command? So the Gemara explains, true, she's not commanded to learn Torah, but nevertheless, she can get the schus of Torah. How? Ba'agra, with the reward for this, the makrin or masnim benayu, that she brings the children to learn Torah. Mikra and Mishnah to both to learn Torah, right? She brings them to school, and they'll be able to learn Torah there. And also, v'natrin lohulu gavrayu, and they sit at home and they wait for their husbands that are in shul learning ad asim bein bedrash until they come back home. Mi loy pagam ba'dayu. Do they not share the reward of the learning Torah with their children or with their husbands that are commanded to learn Torah? That's the schus of Torah that a woman has. So you see over here from this Gemara that the schus of the woman in learning Torah is like a mitzvah v'aisa. She gets mamish schar like the men themselves when she participates in bringing them to learn or waiting for them to come home from learning, and she mamish gets the schar of mitzvah v'aisa, and that's what saves her from the waters of the Sotah. The Gemara goes back now to the lashon of the Braisa.
You just said that Torah is only began when you're learning.
Again?
The second shot is that Torah was only Megan.
The Torah, what does the Gemara say before? Rava said, when it comes to Torah is be'idna the asik be'magna matzla, right? No, the Gemara said before that even regarding Torah, even when you're not Isaac in it, it's also protects a person from Yisurim. Look before the Gemara. The Gemara did say that. It does protect the person even after he learns. But the Gemara here, look, it says it before Beferish. Okay, the Gemara now comes back to the lashon of the Braisa. The Braisa said regarding Torah that when a person learns Torah and it comes to the Proshas Drachim, the fork in the road, so there the person is already fully protected. He doesn't have to be afraid at all anymore. My Proshas Drachim. What is this Proshas Drachim that the Braisa mentioned? Rav Chisda says, Zeh Talmud Chacham v'yoyim Misa. This is a Talmud Chacham that's learning Torah, and he comes to the day that he passes away. So he's fully protected. He kept the yoke of Torah upon him until the day he passes away. Talmud Chacham that learns Torah, and he's God-fearing. So even if it's not the day that he's passing away, but the yiras chet that he has along with his learning Torah, so he fulfills mitzvahs, so that holds him back from Yetzer Hara coming and connecting to him. Mazutra says the Proshas Drachim is Zeh Talmud Chacham the Solke Leishmaitasa Alibe de Hilchase. This is a Talmud Chacham that learns Torah, and not only he learns Torah, but the halachas that he says are accepted by all the Talmidim in the Beis HaMedrash. That's the Proshas Drachim, that he's being listened to, and his halachas is Alibe de Hilchase, so he's fully protected from the Yetzer Hara. Taisus over here asks on this, why? Just because he's learning Torah and his halachas are being accepted, how is he fully protected from the Yetzer Hara? If it's not the day he passes away and there's no yiras chet there necessarily, so why is this so? So Taisus says because this Talmud Chacham is Teirasei Nasai, and he learns Torah not only when he's in the Beis Medrash, but even when he walks in the street. He's thinking over, it's what he's learning in the Beis Medrash is still in his mind. That's what he's thinking about wherever he goes. Taisus brings the lashon of the Gemara that he doesn't go dal damas without Torah. So such a person that the words of Torah that he learns in the Beis Medrash are always in his mind, the Yetzer Hara can't come to him. Now going back to the other pshat that we said before, the second pshat, Aveda mechabe mitzvah, and Aveda could extinguish the schus of a mitzvah, ve'en Aveda mechabe Torah. The Aveda cannot extinguish the schus of Torah. Rav Yosef said, Darshe Rav Menachem bar Yosi lahai kra ki Sinai. Rav Menachem bar Yosi darshan this pasuk the way it was handed down at Har Sinai. Ve'ilmali darshua Doeg Achitofel, and if Doeg and Achitofel would have darshan this pasuk this way, leirotfu basa David, they wouldn't have ran after David. In other words, they wouldn't have looked down at David in the negative sense. What happened? The pasuk says, Leimar Elikim Azavei v'Geimer. They looked at David HaMelech and they said that the Eibishter left alone David, even though David HaMelech was so great and he learned a lot of Torah, but then he sinned. with the story with Bathsheba, and because of that Aveda, they said that David should have left David. So therefore, they were going after David in a negative way. But if they would have known this chus of Torah that he had, they wouldn't have. My Dorish, what did they darshan when they said that David should have left David? They darshan ervas davar. There shouldn't be ervas davar, inappropriate, immoral behavior amongst you. And if there is, the pasuk there continues and says that the Eibush will not be v'haya machanecha kodesh. You only can be holy if the Eibush is with you, but otherwise the Eibush is not with you. That's what they thought about David HaMelech. But v'heinen in Yedin, what they did not know was she'aveda mechabe mitzvah, and aveda could extinguish the schus of a mitzvah. Then aveda mechabe Torah, but the aveda will not extinguish the schus of Torah that David HaMelech had, and therefore the Eibush was always with him. Now going back to the pasuk that was quoted before, the pasuk of Mayim Rabim. Mayim Rabim yuchol lechabes sa'ava, that waters, the Gemara before said, even an Aveda cannot extinguish the love of Torah. That pasuk then concludes and says, Boiz Yavaizulai. My Boiz Yavaizulai. What is the meaning of the pasuk over here? It says Boiz Yavaizulai, which means, how do they translate there? Boiz Yavaizulai? They will surely squander him. So what? Okay, scorn him. I'm sorry. Okay, they will scorn him. What's the scorning that this pasuk is talking about? If we're talking about someone that's learning Torah. Amarole, so Ola says as follows: Loi kishimen achi Azariah. This Boiz Yavaizulai is not referring to Shimon, which this Shimon, he was one of the Tanoim, and he's known as the brother of Azariah. And the reason why he was known as the brother of Azariah was because his brother Azariah came to Shimon and said, look, you could learn Torah, but I can't. I'm going to do business, and I'll provide, and I'll give you all your parnasa that you need for the Torah that you're going to learn. So he made that deal with him in advance, that I'm going to support you. So that's perfect, that's beautiful. And also, V'loike Rav Yechanan the Bei Nesiyah. And this pasuk of Boiz Yavaizulai. So the scorning, it's not talking about Yechanan the Bei Nesiyah. So Rav Yechanan also learned Torah, and the Nasi supported Rav Yechanan in his learning. Ella, rather, what this pasuk is referring to is Ki Hillel v'Shevna, like the story of Hillel and Shevna. What happened with Hillel and Shevna? Chiyasar Avdimi Yama, when Avdimi came, he said about Hillel and his brother Shevna, Hillel v'Shevna achi havu. They were brothers. Hillel asak b'Torah. Hillel went to learn Torah. Shevna avad iske, and Shevna, his brother, went into business, and he did not offer to support his brother in advance. That look, that I'm gonna do business and support you. But then Lisaif, in the end, Amalei, he comes and tells his brother, Ta nare v'liflik. Now he says, come and let's together invest, and you'll get part of, and you'll get the support from me. Right? So only afterwards does he come and say, look, I'm successful in business, come and invest together with me, and you'll get support from me. So on this, we say that Boiz Yavaizulai, we don't need your support at this point. Yatzas Abaska v'Amra, Abaska comes out and says, that his brother Shevna comes to him after the fact and says, here, I want to share your schus of Torah and come invest with me. So at that point, we say Boiz Yavaizulai, that he can't share the schus of Torah. Okay, let's see the continuation here. The Gemara comes now back to what it says in the Mishnah. Yeah, it's okay. So the Gemara, Aime Ben Azai said, Chayev Adam Lilmaid Es Lalamid Es V'Chulu, that a person should teach his daughter Torah. Rabbi Eliezer says, Kamalamed Es Bite Torah, person that teaches his daughter Torah, Malamda Tiflis. He's teaching her Tiflis. Tiflis means promiscuous behavior. So the Gemara asks, how could that be? Tiflis, he teaches her Torah, he's teaching her this immoral behavior. So could you say so? Ela so the Gemara says, what does it mean? Ki'ilu lamda tiflis. If he teaches her Torah, it's as if he's teaching her how to behave in this way, in an inappropriate way. Why? Because, as Rashi says, that if she learns Torah, so then the Chachma of Torah enters into her, and she utilizes the Chachma of Torah in a negative way. It causes her to sin in a sly way, that she hides. People shouldn't see how she's sinning. So therefore, it's not a good thing for her to learn Torah. Amar Rabbav also says, my time of the Rabbi Eliezer. What's the source of Rabbi Eliezer? The pasuk says, Ani Chachma Shachanti Arma. I have wisdom, and then what dwells inside of me is Arma. this sly wisdom. It's utilized in the negative way. When the chachma enters into a person, it also could bring negative behavior where a person utilizes this wisdom and not in the positive way, but armumius is again sly, when a person knows how to sin and he shouldn't be noticed and so on. The Rabbanon in our Mishnah, which is really Ben Azai, and they disagree and they say that you should teach a woman Torah and your daughter Torah and there's no problem. Hi, ani chachma my abdile. What do they learn from this pasuk where it says ani chachma shachanti arma? So they learn out something else from here. Look at Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina. The Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina ein divrei Torah miskaimen ela b'mi shemaymed atzmoi odom aleyen. The Torah only lasts and remains with the person that it completely undresses himself. In other words, he nullifies himself for the Torah. That's what it means here. Where a person totally puts aside, he nullifies his own thoughts, his own ideas, his own ego for the Torah that he learns. That's what the arma over here means. Ani chachma shachanti arma. Where does the Torah dwell in a person that's arma, that nullifies and puts aside his own things? Rabbi Yechanan says, Torah only stays with a person that considers himself to be nothing. Shanema, as the pasuk says, that chachma is only with a person that is ayin, that knows that he comes from ayin and sees himself as nothing. Okay, so you see over here, this last point, that the Torah, the keli for Torah, even though Torah is chachma, but it's the Eibish's chachma, so therefore there has to be bittul. But going back to the previous point, I just want to mention again, I think I mentioned it when we learned the Mishnah, that regarding a woman learning Torah. So the Gemara over here brings the opinions that say that it's a negative thing for a woman, for a girl to learn Torah, and in the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch and the Alter Rebbe as well bring this down, this halacha, that it's a negative thing for a woman to learn Torah because it can be used out negatively, but the Rebbe many times spoke about the fact and encouraged very much the women to learn Torah, not besides the halachas atzrichis lahem. There are halachas that they're obligated to learn. I know all the details, and that itself could keep them busy all their life. All the Hilchas Shabbos, the entire Chassidus, all relates to a woman, everything. Avos Hashem, Yiras Hashem, Achdus Hashem. So that's enough Torah to learn for their entire lifetime. But even the halachas that are not tzrichas lahen, the Rebbe says women could also learn Torah, and the Rebbe said a few points. First of all, the Rebbe said this, that the Gemara says that the Torah brings armumius, it brings in this sly behavior and so on. So women today are anyways learning and studying secular wisdoms and sciences and everything else. So they have that chachma in them anyways. So it's not like the Torah is going to introduce this attitude of this kind of a negative chachma in them. So you might as well teach them Torah and bring the kedusha of Torah into them. Besides that, the Rebbe says that a woman that learns Torah and she's able to learn with her children that come home from school, she could learn with them the Chumash, the Mishnayos, the Gemara, whatever it is. It's a very positive thing for the chinuch of the children for a woman to learn. And then additionally, the Rebbe says, the closer we come to Mashiach, the fact that we see that today it's very beneficial for women to learn Torah, it's all because we're coming to the time of Mashiach, which is Eshes Chayla, Teres Baila, that women will be able to learn Torah as much as the men, if not even more. If you want to see this thing extensively, there's a Sikha from Parshas Emor, Tafshin Nun, where the Rebbe speaks about this inyan with all the details. Okay, let's continue the Gemara. Sagt the Gemara, Rabbi Shua, that a woman would rather have a kav and tiflus. So the Gemara explains what this means. My kama, what's the Mishnah saying? Hachi kama, what the Mishnah is saying is as follows. Reitzi isha b'kav tiflus. A woman would rather have a kav, less food that she's being fed, or less parnasa, but v'tiflus. But to have more of tiflus, her husband should be available for her relations with her husband, imay, with him, mitishas kaben aprishas. Then to have more parnasa, more food, and more than having more of that, uprishas, but to be separated from her husband. Hu ayaime chassid shaita. Rabbi Shua also said that he counts in the Mishnah there's a chassid shaita, and then the Rasha Aram, a few different things. The Mishnah said that all of these are mevale olam. They destroy the world. Now, what does a chassid shaita mean? Heichi dami chassid shaita. What's the example of a person it seems to be a chassid, but he's really a shaita? He's a fool. Kagayim the katava itza benara. There's a woman that's drowning. Va'amar, and he says to himself, La v'yirechara listakuli bal vatsula. It's not the right thing. It's not appropriate for my behavior to look at a woman and to go and to save her. In such a situation, to save her life, obviously this is a shaita. Heichi dami rasha aram. What's the situation of what the Mishnah then says? A rasha, a wicked person, which is aram, which is conniving. Rabbi Yechanan says, and here we have a bunch of pshatim of what's a Rasha Adam. So one pshat is hamatim dvarav l'dayin kaidim sheyavai baldin chaverei. That's a person that he has a din Torah with somebody, and he comes to the judge, to the dayan, and he gives him his side of the story, and he presents his case before his friend, the other baldin, comes along. So because you give your side of the story before your friend, what happens is the dayan is already looking at you more favorably. Your side of the story is already settled in his heart before your friend comes. So that's a rasha. You just look like you're presenting your case, but really what you're intending to do is that he should look at you favorably. Rabbi Avo says, it's when you give tzedakah, you give a dinner to an ani, lahashlun loy masayim zuz, and you're giving him now one dinner, and now he has masayim zuz. What's the significance of the fact that he has 200 zuz? If he has 200 zuz, this actually will not take away his ability to take meiser ani, or to take from leket shikha and peah rather. Let's see here. The Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah Masechta Peah, it says, Mi sheyesh loy masayim zuz. What is considered to be poor? A poor person is allowed to go out into the fields and take from the leket, shikha, peah, those portions in the field that are left for a poor person. What's poor? So someone that already has 200 zuz, lo yita leket, shikha, peah, ma'aserani, cannot take from the leket, shikha, peah in the field, and not from any ma'aserani as well. Now, hoyolei masayim chassid dinner. What's if a person has just one dinner less of 200 zuz, so he's still considered to be poor? Afila elef noisun lekahachas arezayital. So even if 1,000 people are coming at once and are giving him ma'aserani all at the same time, he can take all of it because he has one less than 200 zuz, so he can accept ma'aserani, even though now he's accepting so much from so many people, but he can take. All right, so over here, this individual goes and gives this ani that one more dinner, and now he has 200 zuz, and now he can't accept any more tzedakah from anybody else. He loses the opportunity to get. So you look like you're giving him tzedakah, but really you're taking away from him the opportunity to maybe get 1,000 zuz that he could have got from a lot of people that would have given him this tzedakah. Rabbi Rabbi Yechanan, he says a different shot of what a Rasha Adam is. Zeh meisi eitze limker b'nechasim muatin. This, when you give advice to sell when there is an inheritance and there's nechasim muatim, there's very little money. And what's the situation of the little money? We're talking over here about a person that passes away and he has sons and daughters. So the halacha is, if there isn't enough money to provide the basic needs for the girls that they need to eat and so on, so then what happens? We have to leave that money for the daughters, for them to be able to eat, to have food. So they shouldn't have to go and knock on doors to beg for food for themselves. And the sons will not inherit, they're going to have to go and beg for food for themselves. That's the halacha if there's nechasim muatim, if there's not enough money. Now, the Omer Ravasi, Omer Rav Yechanan, Ravasi said the name of Rav Yechanan about this situation, that even though the daughters are supposed to get this money for their support, but Yisayimim shekadmu machru b'nechasim, if the sons went ahead and didn't ask anybody, they just went and sold these properties, or took these, whatever Yerusha there is, and they sold it for their own sake, so masha machru machru, what's sold is sold, and the daughters lose out, even though Chazal instituted that you should leave that money there for the daughters, but if the sons went and took it and sold it, since Menatayra, this is their Yerusha, once they sold it, it's sold. So this Rasha Adam, he gives the sons the advice, you want to get the Yerusha from your father, go ahead and sell it anyways, and you'll be able to keep it for yourself. So he's causing the takana of Chazal not to be fulfilled. Abaye says, this is a person that gives advice to sell the nechasim, to sell properties, like what Rab Shimon ben Gamliel said. What is the case we're speaking about? The Tanya, we learned in the Braisa, what happens if someone comes and says to his friend, Nechasai lecha, I give you my properties. V'acharecha leploini. Now after you, meaning after you pass away, I want these properties to then go to somebody else. So he's giving it to Reuven, and then he tells Reuven, when you pass away, it should go to Pliny, it should go to Shimon. Now, what happened? The first person, so in his lifetime, he entered into this property, but then he sold it. And va'achal, hasheni, va'achal. And so, machar, va'achal, now he sells it to someone else, and now there's someone else that he sold it to that's eating in this property. Hasheni, moitzi miyad alakuchais. This second person that's supposed to get the property after the first person passes away, he can go from the buyer and say, you bought this property from this first person, and now that first person passed away. It's supposed to go to me, and he could take it away from the buyer. Divrei Rebbe, that's Rebbe's opinion. But Rab Shimon Gamliel disagrees, and he says, Ein l'sheni ela mashashayir rishayin. The second person only gets what the first one left over. If the first person went and sold it to someone else first, so now the second person will get nothing. So the Rosh Hashanah gives advice to the first person: you want to have the money, you want to keep it for yourself, sell the property before you pass away, and then the second person will get nothing. So you're basically doing something which is taking away from the real intention of the person that gave you the gift. The person that gave you the gift intended that you should have the gift temporarily, and then later it should go to the second person. He's giving you advice to avoid that. This is a person that shows others how to behave according to his own behavior. He tells others, look at me, look how I behave, and this is, you should follow what I do. So he's really not trying to help people behave properly. He's just trying to draw attention to his positive behavior so that people shouldn't look at his negative behavior. That's also a Rosh Hashanah. He's conniving in his wickedness. The final pshat the Gemara says, or actually two more, the Gemara says here, Rab Zrika Omer Avona Za Meikol Atzmai. This is a person that's lenient with himself, but a machmer la'acherim. He's machmer with others. When people ask him questions, he's very stringent with others, and he looks like a big tzaddik. And really, with himself, he's very lenient. Ula Amar, Ula says, this Rosh Hashanah is Shekara V'Shana. He learns Chumash, he learns Mishnah, but V'lei Shimish Talmidei Chachamim. He doesn't learn Gemara. So this person looks like he's learning a lot of Torah, but if you don't learn the Gemara and you don't know the reasons and the understanding behind everything, so then you make a lot of mistakes. You can't pass on halachas properly, and your learning of Torah is not proper. So he looks like a tzaddik, but really is a rasha because he's not learning Gemara.